Life on the Pageant Planet. I'm Kristen Darden, your walking coach, and we're going to be talking to Faith about her swimsuit walk. During our walking session, we were able to go over some very simple things that can help Faith and you do better in your next competition. One of the things that I noticed when we were downstairs was Faith has a little kick in her walk, which isn't unusual, so that's something that you definitely talked about that you wanted to kind of get away from, which is great for some things, but not so great for others. She's in a position where you're how old?
16.
So she's 16 and very involved in teen pageants, but soon is going to be making the transition over into to Miss Pageants. And so we want to make sure that we take some of those things that are more teen and leave them in the teen pageant where you were very successful. So let's talk about the kick a little bit. Where did you learn that from?
I was a dancer for a little while, so I think that might have had something to do with it. And fancy feet, that's kind of my calling. So well, it's harder to transition into pageants and drop old habits.
So I know a lot of us were cheerleaders and might have been dancers and different things. So we take those experiences that we have on stage and use them in other areas that we work in. So when you're coming to pageantry, some of those things you will be able to move and transition, but some things, like you said, you do have to drop. So one thing that we talked about was being able to use a straddle instead of a pivot. So for those of you that are dancers and models, we all know what a pivot is when you're on that one foot and you kind of do a swing over onto another side. So replacing the pivot with the straddle where you're sticking your foot instead of making that swing. And that was one of the ways that we were able to take that kick out of there, that Tennessee walking horse is what I call it. And be able to make it smooth and just have a really nice transition throughout your entire walk. So that was one of the things that was very specific to Faith, and I'm sure that a lot of you do a lot of the same things in your system that might be something that judges kind of look at as distracting. So I'm glad that we were able to go over that. Another thing that we did go over was being able to recognize people and using the light of recognition in our pageant walk. Because when you're there, no matter if you are in a cafeteria or if you're in a theater, you want to make sure that everyone there is very welcomed by your performance. So we went over being able to look for 3 seconds. So tell me what you got a little bit out of that light of recognition.
It just kind of helps you realize that you need to incorporate the entire audience. The judges are a very important aspect of competition, obviously. They pick the winner, but you also need to show the audience, kind of give them a little smile, something to include them in the fun.
Right, and you do want to make sure, I call it the 3-second rule, that you're not changing and moving where you're looking within 3 seconds. So you want to make sure that you're holding, so if you're holding to this side of the audience, that you're holding for 3 seconds, straight forward for at least 3 seconds, and then to another side or to a balcony for at least 3 seconds. Because if you do it more quickly than that, it'll look like you're looking for exit somewhere, and you don't want that to come across that way. You want to look confident and really just treating everybody like an old friend. And we want to take those things that are natural to us and be able to put them into our competition because it makes us who we really are, because it's what we really do. One thing that you can do to make a high impact very quickly is just taking longer steps. When you're taking really short steps, that's great when you're doing kiddie pageants and doing teen pageants, but when you transition into an older age group, you definitely want to make sure that you're taking nice, long, lean steps. So you're going to be taking a lot of that bounce out of your step. And I don't want for you or some of our viewers out there to take out the energy, because I think sometimes we rely on that bounce to provide the energy, but that's not where it is. The bounce is just something that we incorporate in that we're just trying to take out without taking the joy out of your walk. So just taking longer, smoother steps will help you to take the bounce out because your knees are not directly under, so you have less leg room, less space to actually get a good height on the bounce. So that's something that you can try now right at home, right after you get done watching this video. Just try to take longer steps, and that's something that's going to definitely get higher points. So all in all, I think that we were able to do some things that really made a difference in your competition. And it wasn't hard, was it?
No, it was really easy, and it really made a fast improvement, like instantly. I loved it.
Very good. So these are things that you can all try at home. It's not rocket science. It's not a very hard thing to do. It's just things that you really have to think about in your competition, and it's hard to kind of spot them because you're the one on stage. You really have to take yourself out of that experience and say, okay, when you're looking at other title holders, when you're looking at people who are doing well, what are some of the things that they're doing? And it's not huge things, it's all the little things that make a huge difference. Thank you for watching Life on the Pageant Planet, and I'm Kristen Darden, your walking coach.